Hello, elementary students. This is Ms. Rosado. And in order to celebrate the fun of reading, which is what we're doing this week, I am going to read to you some very funny parts of a book called The Stinky Cheese Man and Other Fairly Stupid Tales. Now, this is a book that has won a Calicut Honor Medal, and bear with me. We're just going to read some pages, and I hope you will enjoy it. And then I'm going to give you a challenge. Let's see how many of you would like to take on that challenge. This book is by John Scieszka and Lane Smith. So let's just flip through the pages and see what surprises we find. Okay, this is funny. Title page for The Stinky Cheese Man and Other Fairly Stupid Tales. But let's read the introduction. It says, a long time ago, people used to tell magical stories of wonder and enchantment. Those stories were called fairy tales. Those stories are not in this book. The stories in this book are almost fairy tales, but not quite. The stories in this book are fairly stupid tales. I mean, what else would you call a story like Goldilocks and the Three Elephants? This girl walking through the woods smells peanut porridge cooking. She decides to break into the elephant's house, eat the porridge, sit in the chairs, and sleep in the beds. But when she gets in the house, she can't climb up on the baby elephant's chair because it's too big. She can't climb up on Mama Elephant's chair because it's much too big. And she can't climb up on Papa Elephant's chair because it's much, much too big. So she goes home. The end. And if you don't think that's fairly stupid, you should read Little Red Running Shorts or maybe A Stinky Cheese Man. In fact, you should definitely go read the stories now because the rest of this introduction just kind of goes on and doesn't really say anything. I stuck it on to the end here so it would fill up the page and make it look like I really knew what I was talking about. So stop now. I mean it. Quit reading. Turn the page. If you read this last sentence, it won't tell you anything. And it's signed by Jack, Up the Hill, Fairy Tale Forest, 1992. And there's a Surgeon General's warning that says, it has been determined that these tales are fairly stupid and probably dangerous to your health. As we flip through the pages, okay, this looks like a really funny story of Chicken Little. We've got a table of contents. Let's read this one. The Princess and the Bowling Ball. Once upon a time, there was a prince, and this prince's dad and mom, the king and queen, somehow got it into their royal heads that no princess would be good enough for their boy unless she could feel a pea through 100 mattresses. Ah, I see. The Princess and the Pea story. So, it should come as no surprise that the prince had a very hard time finding a princess. Every time he met a nice girl, his mom and dad would pile 100 mattresses on top of a pea and then invite her to sleep over. When the princess came down for breakfast, the queen would ask, how did you sleep, dear? The princess would politely say, fine, thank you, and the king would show her the door. Now, this went on for 3 years, and of course, nobody ever felt the pea under 100 mattresses. Then, one day, the prince met the girl of his dreams. He decided he'd better do something about it. That night, before the princess went to bed, the prince slipped his bowling ball under the 100 mattresses. When the princess came down for breakfast the next morning, the queen asked, how did you sleep, dear? This might seem odd, said the princess, but I think you need another mattress. I felt like I was sleeping on a lump as big as a bowling ball. The king and queen were satisfied. The prince and princess were married, and everyone lived happily, though maybe not completely honestly, ever after. The end. Okay, so that's a twist to fairy tales. And we have different fairy tales like The Ugly Duckling as one. This one is an interesting one, which has to do with the Frog Prince, Little Red Riding Hood, a twist on that story. And as we go through all the pages, each story is as fairly ludicrous or ridiculous as the one before. It's a great book, and now as I flip through the pages, I'm ready to offer my challenge. This is it. Ms. Fernandez and I would really like to give you a wonderful grade for the fourth quarter. So, would you like to accept the challenge of writing a fairly stupid fairy tale? Just like the ones in this book. These are short stories based on real fairy tales, but with a twist and humor. Although I must say and repeat, the humor has to be something that any child of any age can read. Okay? So we can keep it fairly stupid, but just fairly stupid. Got it? All right. This is Ms. Rosado. It was great reading to you this week, and let's continue to celebrate reading because what is this doing here? This is ugly. Who is this ISBN guy? Who will buy this book anyway? Over 50 page of nonsense, and I'm only in three of them. Blah 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 blah